Good morning, everyone. I want to welcome you to the Builders Call. We were just doing a little in our daily huddle before jumping on this call and looked down. I'm like, oh, it's April 15th. How did that happen so fast already? Okay. We're in Q2 and the second Tuesday of April. So I'm excited for today's topic and also want to just throw out there, it looks like we're going to have a little bit of a smaller group unless we have a rush of people, an influx that joins us as we get going here. So if there's things that you would specifically like to walk away from today's conversation with, please put them in the chat and we'll work them into the dialogue. I have been thinking actually, I had some downtime over the weekend. My sister was here. It was her birthday last week. And so we were sitting out. It was a beautiful sunny weekend in PG. And so we were sitting out on the deck, just kind of catatonic, just, when you sit and you don't really talk about anything, you're just being in the presence of someone else. And um, and I was thinking my head, wandered off into where we're at this point right now in time, in the year and in the timeline of EXP and in the timeline of life. And then also, look moving forward, right? And this idea that things only make sense when we can look backwards and connect the dots. And sometimes it's really challenging in the moment, like this present moment, to go, oh, right now there's a dot that's being created that as I keep moving forward, I'm going to look back and be able to see at this point in time in this space right here. And so with that, I was feeling, a lot of gratitude. Number one, because of the community that is coming together in a stronger way off of some, random little, Selena and I are always in this conversation of how do we make it better? And we can laugh about it now because it was a stressful question for a while, because it always meant that I was wanting to change something to make it better. And well, that is kind of what happens when you go to make things better. Things change. But this whole bringing in and doing retreats this year, which is the first time, right? And like a very intentionally, how are we going to move the needle forward? What can I do? What can I bring to the table to help move the needle forward and serve in a way that's going to help our people move the needle forward? And so I'm really in gratitude for that right now because several of you that are on the call right now today were here a couple of weeks ago and we had that opportunity to learn together, to grow together, to bond together. And as I was sitting Sunday reflecting on all of that, I was thinking about the nature of the business of real estate and how challenging it can be just because of the dynamics of what it takes to be successful, right? Not that it doesn't take challenging dynamics to be successful in other things, but particularly in this industry, it requires a very specific and resilient type of human to stay in the ring, to stay on the field, and to keep engaging and at play, right? To keep things moving and going and growing. And let's be honest, like we talked about at that retreat, and this is a lot of setup for our conversation today, but we did talk about a concept at that retreat, which is, the past is about the past being perfect, anything that's happened up until now, and not ideal, but we can't change it, and that everybody's doing the best they can in this moment. And so with that, um, and this is like, I kind of feel like I'm channeling Rick right now because I'm going all the way around Robin Hood's barn. And you guys are like, what is the point she is going to make about, telling this story? But I promise it like all fits together. And so the point of that being that um, sometimes my best is going to look like I'm a freaking Olympic athlete. And sometimes my best is going to look like I'm playing flag football on a field of 5-year-olds. And and it's still going to be my best, right? And so, and not to be in judgment about that because I can be at a point where I've been that Olympic athlete that is just killing it, crushing it, and that was my best. And then I can be that 5-year-old flag football person, and because of everything else going on in my life or circumstances at that point, that really is my best, right? And the point is that regardless, it doesn't matter, is that we're on the field. We're on the freaking field and we're playing, right? And we've kept ourselves in the game versus taking ourselves out of the game. And for today's call and today's topic, so I was having a lot of gratitude over the weekend just to land the plane on that point, thinking about and I mean, look at every single person on this call is a woman. And when I think about the opportunity to be in partnership in life with women that have that hunger, that have that desire, and that will go to the ends of the earth for each other, to support, to be there, to challenge each other. And I always say maximum growth happens at the intersection of a balance of challenge and support. If you give someone too much support, then they become, too dependent. If it's too much challenge, they're too independent and don't relate with others. It's that balance of challenge and support where we've got to have both to really grow. And so I'm really grateful to be in this community and to have the opportunity to keep doing these calls. I mean, we've been doing them for several years now, I think. So think since 2021, actually. So 4 years now that these have been going. And there's different faces that are on them now than there were back then. And so I'm really excited for the faces that are on today and the ones that will be in the future. And so the idea of this call that we do the first and third Tuesdays of the month is it is focused on best practices for people that want to build and grow organizations. And specifically, our topic today is in context of, for those of you that have gone through the Builders Boot Camp that's on Empire Builders Pro or haven't yet gone through it, there is this section that is the second section on the value of creating a contact list and the relationships that go with that and how to be strategic with that. And this mindset for, refresh or review, or for those of you that haven't seen it, is that sometimes we will get really positioned on individual people and we forget that it's never about a person, but it's about that person's network, right? Because that person is a gateway to hundreds of people, which is a gateway to hundreds of more people, which is a gateway to hundreds of more people. So I was having a conversation with my trainer and he's a little bit more cut and dry. And he's like, man, I don't like someone, I just kick them to the curb. I'm like, yeah, well, that's not how it works in my business world, because if I don't want to do business with somebody, I know that that person has a network of people and they probably in that network of people know some really great people. So I want to make sure that I always keep that door open so that I have trust or access to that network so that I can be introduced to, hopefully at some point for some reason or in some way, shape or form, to someone in that network. And so with that, our call topic today came up because it is about a very specific network of people that each and every one of you all have access to and all have relationships with. The question is, do you have a strategy around how you're nurturing, fostering, and utilizing that to build? And so in the context of real estate, you'll hear us talk a lot about, well, Selena more than me, 4 pillars of income in real estate. So that could be 4 different aspects of things that you're using to generate business that are the foundation of your business. So that might be referrals on the sales side. It could be, becoming a pro at working open houses. It could be a strategy around your top 50. Like these would be different pillars of income that your business comes from on the real estate sales side. And so we're taking that concept, that idea today and moving and utilizing it into, okay, well, if I'm going to start to look at pillars of income in the builder's side of building an organization of agents, then where are some of those potentials, going to come from in that space? And so there's an entire sector, and open houses could be a pillar of income for you as it relates to agent attraction and recruiting, right? Because if you have the opportunity to have people walking through your door, whether that's at brokers opens or open houses that you're doing on the weekends, you're immediately face to face and building relationship and rapport with people. And we talked about utilizing that intentionally and specifically. Today, what we're going to talk about is something that came up as a result of uh, my dear friends Kim and Katrina, because I noticed it on my calendar. I'm like, hey, wait a minute, this would be a really great conversation for our community to be able to benefit from. And so they were willing to pivot and have us be able to discuss it on today's call. So for those of you, I think everybody on this call knows everyone, yeah? As I'm looking around faces. Everybody's connected, met each other. So, well, I had the opportunity to meet Katrina just recently, called at my house a couple of weeks ago, and it was so cool. So when we did the retreat, I had been working with Kim, and the parameters were like, Kim, bring 9 of your best, like just your best people. I don't care who they are, just your best people. And so I had no idea who was going to show up at my house. I didn't really ask before. And we had a little grounding call before, and that was it. And then, like, come to find out, there's, this connection. And Katrina says, like, we're standing in the kitchen. She goes, 1997, when I was working at the title office, and Rick, treated me like, I was like, oh my goodness. And now here you are in our kitchen. Like, it's so amazing. So I think it's a testament to, I like to think about it in the context of it being a testament to who we are and just how we are showing up and interacting with people. It goes for a lifetime and years down the road, and we never know day to day what those interactions are going to mean or where they're going to lead to. And so intentionally going into every day, every conversation, every meeting, every appointment, every Zoom with that intention of like, hey, I have the opportunity to show up today, and the way that I show up today can create an experience for somebody else that years from now they may be talking about, or they may not be. And who knows, it doesn't matter, but it's, being really present in that way. So anyway, Katrina, that was like a really special moment in our kitchen. And I'm so grateful that you came, and Kim, that you got everybody together. And so what I'd love to do is turn it over to you to kind of frame up the conversation for the topic today, and then we'll jump in.
Okay, awesome.
And for
Thank
people that don't
you.
know you, just your name is Katrina, obviously, but what market you work in, how long you've been in the business of real estate, and then how long you've been with EXP.
Yep. So I'm Katrina Carter. For those who don't know me, I am in the San Francisco Bay Area, born and raised. Live in San Leandro now. I have been in real estate for 24 years. Went part-time after 2008 and for about 10 years, and then came back full-time 2018 and joined EXP in 2022. I am also a mortgage broker. And so, which I did that in 2019 is when I got my lender license. And so, Kim and I were talking, and I was telling her that I'm recognizing that my blue ocean is becoming loan officers who, some of them might have their license and not use it. Some of them might been thinking about getting their license. And so just looking at what opportunities there are there, as well as I'm on the board for Women's Council of Associated Real Property Brokers, which is basically the Black Realtor Association, Realtist Association. And so I have these two networks of people that are completely different from all of the people that I normally engage with as being part of EXP, or even just in my day-to-day real estate activity. And so that's what Kim and I were discussing. And just, yeah, it was like, I'd love to flesh that out, what that looks like, of leaning into that and really embracing. I do a Tuesday evening call that I call Smarter Business with Katrina Carter, that goes over a lot of systems and a lot of tech stuff, although we kind of embrace all of my hats in the past. And I've even done a meal prep class on there because I used to be a chef and have a meal prep service. And so just leaning into all of these things that I've kind of put together and utilizing it for agent attraction and building my organization. So
I love that. Thank you for bringing that topic to the table. So let's start off with some of the principles, right? Because, and this is an important thing so that it's transferable, right? Skill sets are transferable. So when we start to think about the principles of building, um, it is number one is that everybody's got a story, right? So all of those loan agents that you have access to have a story of business and life. And so let's like just take the EXP part of the conversation off and go germane to like how to think about it. So every single one of them they're in business for themselves. They've chosen to be in a business in an industry that you know what that is. We all know what that is, right? And they're still here, right? So with that, they have a network of relationships that are lenders within the industry, either from where they work right now or places that they've worked over the years as a pillar for themselves. They also have a network of agents that are bringing them clients, right? That they've worked with or are currently working with or have worked with. And so those are two really great places to start. And when you think about that, so number one, each one of them has a story. And so if you can create engagement on where are they at in the story of their business and their life, this is a great starting point. And we talked, we did extensive stuff with that at the retreat, but the basis of that is that everybody was doing something before getting into the lending industry. And if we can understand why they transitioned from where they were at into the industry of lending, that's going to give you some key information that is going to be a driver to what's important to them, what sits in their values. And then if they've stayed in the industry, that's going to give you another key piece of information about them and what's important to them as it relates to their values. And then the gap and the opportunity in each of those relationships is going to be what is the feeling? And this is a great, as you look as you look out on the horizon of the next 1 year, 3 year, 5 years of your business and your career, what is the feeling that you have? And this is going to be different for each person. And some people that, have done a lot of personal development are going to be like, oh, totally optimistic and excited. Okay, great. I would like to understand more about why that is. Like, what is it that you see that has you feeling that way? Because sometimes people will answer that just as a default because they've been trained to answer that way versus actually what they're feeling, right? And then other people are going to say a host of different things. But I think that if we go back to a lot of what we talked about in the retreat, is that from my perspective, a leader's job is to be a hope, provide opportunity, and then a clear path for someone to realize that opportunity. Yeah, like we're dealers in hope. And so what is the hope that someone has as they look out 1 year, 3 years, 5 years onto the horizon of their career? And what are the concrete reasons that they're feeling that way? Most people are not going to have that. There's going to be a gap. And so that in that gap is the opportunity for a different conversation, right? Um, so that is on that side of things. And then everybody's got this network, right? So from specifically on the lender side of things, if they have agents they've worked with, they're gonna easily, like if you go through and have a database of the agents that you've worked with and done deals with, the ones that you love working with are gonna pop off the page. They're always going to pop off the page. Like you remember working with them, you do a deal with them again, like in a heartbeat, because they're great to work with. And we talk about in building the list of contacts and the principles that go with that, like get it to as many people as you can. The more people that you have, the bigger the opportunity that you'll see or feel in that way. But to be quite honest, if you had somebody and let's say you had a 60 or a 90-day window, you don't want all of their contacts. You want the best contacts they have, the ones that they've got the best experiences with, that are those key people, and you want to be able to get to and access those first. And so if you now in looking at just kind of the fabric of how that would get built, let's say you've got somebody that's in the lending space. And this just came to me right now, just the same way lenders with leverage, because lenders don't have leverage, right? So it was the multi-unit Maven, whatever that just came out, lenders with leverage just like popped out. That could be like that could be your whole thing for that target segment, right? And that this is where these conversations get open. Lenders with leverage, it's Wednesday nights with Katrina, lenders with leverage, and how they start to create that in their business with everything that they already have. So this is just my brain like pulling things apart, as you can see, but it's going off of the principles of number one, everybody's got a story. Number two, everybody's got a network. And then how do we, in those segments like open up the stories and open up the networks to go, hey, here's an arena that we could grow, play, be together in a way that, yeah, I mean, how many lenders have leverage? None that I know. Okay.
And because action takers are money makers, I just bought that.
Yeah. I love that. Get it. Go daddy. Okay, so just what does that have you thinking, seeing, looking at differently? You're on mute.
There we
There
go.
we go.
I'm like, unmute. I can totally see as soon as you said lenders with leverage, it was like, oh my God, like my brain just flew open. And Kim knows how that my brain works. And so yeah, it's a mile a minute. Exactly. I could totally see that becoming a whole thing, a whole funnel around it. Like, yeah, there's so many things I'll be able to lean into with that a separate call. And maybe it's a little bit earlier before my other call that is focused on those lenders and ways they can leverage. The cool thing is that the mortgage brokerage that I'm with also has a little bit of that aspect to it as well. And so I can combine that on both sides as far as the rev share piece. And so and and because I hear all the pain points so often, some of us are in the real estate Facebook group, Lab Coat Agents, and you see all the realtors who post stuff all the time. Well, on the broker side, we have brokers are best, and it's the same thing. And so we see the pain points all the time. So yeah, being able to lean into that and show possibility and options. Yeah, I can see so many things now. So yeah, cool.
Cool. So once you write this down, one of my favorites, Dr. John DeMartini, says that wealth gets created by growing businesses that serve ever and ever greater numbers of people. So the key to creating wealth is by building and growing a business that serves ever and ever greater numbers of people. So in the context of a loan agent will be thinking, well, how many more loans can I do? A real estate agent will be thinking, well, how many more sales can I do? But what we're talking about um, is the, you know, I would rather have 10 people selling 10 homes a year than me personally selling 100 all day long, all day long, right? So this idea of building businesses that serve ever and ever greater numbers of people, that is a key concept, whether you're going to be talking about that in the lender space or whether you're going to be talking about that in the real estate sales space for agents that want to build things. Like, what if we start to think differently about a business that serves ever and ever greater numbers of people? And okay, Lonnie, I get you're in Vegas and your business is coming from Vegas and you're kicking butt and you're doing a lot of business there. But what if your business now could serve ever and ever greater numbers of people and be, some of it coming out of Texas and some of it coming out of Wyoming and some of it coming out of, time zones that you're not in, and you're serving because of what you have at your fingertips, the ability to serve ever and ever greater numbers of people through a platform and a network of people. And when you start teaching people to think differently about that idea and how that can look and how their business looks, now it's like, oh, we start to spark all of the questions of what becomes possible. And so remember, like every day we're in this conversation of teaching people how to think. And if we can teach people how to think or expose them how to think differently than they've been thinking up until now, they start asking a different set of questions. And when you start asking a different set of questions, you start getting and looking for a different set of answers. And this is the fun piece of that, is that everybody has that. And so, and you, every single one of you that are on this call, you have the goods because you're already in the river, right? Joe Dispenza calls it the river of change. Like all of your due diligence and looking and that got you here to actually be here is you're now in the river. You're in the river of change and things are moving or flowing. But you got to remember that people that aren't here with you yet, that are in your worlds and those relationships, are not in the river. They're seeing you in the river they're observing you in the river. And this is, some of you are doing a really great job on demonstrating that and sharing it and, through social media. And so there's visibility of people witnessing you in the river. But until someone's actually in the river, they don't know exactly what that is or what that's like. And so there's always going to be that, like, that gap of where they are to where you are, and walking that journey and walking that process with them. So, thoughts, comments, questions, feedback from anyone, just of up to where we're at right now in the conversation.
I'm over here jotting down notes and people and all the.
It's good. We start triggering that stuff, right?
Yes.
Get it moving.
So when you say that they're seeing us, so they're on the riverbank and we're in the river, right? And we're splashing around doing our thing. So we talk to those people differently. Is that the idea there? Is
Well,
where
if
they see
they're,
us?
if they're watching you, like, I go and look every day for who are the people that are looking at my stories. And I know that that's who's on the riverbank watching me in the river.
Right,
'Cause they've got
right.
their eyeballs on me. So that is like a self-selected group of people. Yeah, go ahead, Kim.
No, I'm just saying, because if you see me keep doing this, there's nobody here. It's my piece of paper that you wrote on with my story and my vision. And the poor Wi-Fi guy yesterday, I had him like this, and I was like going through my story with him.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
I
he's
love
getting his license, by the way, to join us. So
that.
I
it,
love that.
yeah, the stuff coming off of the event was just pretty spectacular.
Now that you've been back in everybody's back in your worlds, right? For those of you that were here, I would love to hear from each of you one thing that you've done differently, experienced differently, or just even feel differently about being back in the day to day, right? Because there's that environment of being in, that insulated environment that's very focused, but then you got to go, you go back into business and the real world to start to apply and execute some of those things. And that's where you really, like, things really start to, take hold. So would love to hear just anyone that wants to share what that's been like for you. Yeah.
I'll go first. I have two things. Like the past is perfect, right? I mean, you saw my foot when I was at your house. You were like, maybe you're gonna have to chop it off, maybe not, right? Because it's pretty jacked up. And I just pushed through it. I iced it, and then I went out there and got on my tractor and worked up my arena. And I'm like, you know what? I have so much more appreciation for that, for working, being able to work, because the past is perfect, right? And it's not, but that's where I'm going, and that's just my mindset around it. Um, and then another thing, I just put, or we're doing it right now. We just put a 1.7 under escrow yesterday, and normally I'd be like, "Woohoo! What's the math on that?" Because I'm double ending it, and I went, "No, that just gives me a window to focus more on agent attraction." So now the bills are paid. I mean, the bills are paid with rev share, but it's just that twist or that
Yeah.
pivot.
I love that. So what I love that you're sharing about that is so we have this definition of success that I like took on years ago as a result of the stuff that I did in New Skin. And like, how I define success for myself is forward progress towards worthy goals. And that's exactly what you're talking about, like forward progress towards a worthy goal. You've got, a vision of what you want to create. It never for anybody happens as fast or as big as we think it's going to or we want it to. And so that's just always a given. And so then where that leaves each of us is like, okay, did I make forward progress towards a goal that's worthy? Like, you're very clear on what those goals are, and like, doesn't matter what's happening in the day to day or the other things that are coming up. It's like, it's a progress and it's progress and it's progress and it's progress, and being able to balance both of those things out and have gratitude for both of them, right? Versus all the other places that people could go in, given the same situation. So I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
My horse trailer is still stuck in the driveway, my new horse trailer, but I go down and sit in it because it's really pretty. And I watch my videos and I journal and I do what I can with what I got. The new driveway's coming next week.
Love it.
Entrance.
All right, who else? What have you used or what are you experiencing differently in the context of building an attraction on the other side of?
I
Oh,
feel like
for
the
me,
conversations that I've been having with people, I'm approaching it. It's just different how I'm able to approach it. I think before I was almost apologetic for bothering people, right? And having conversations with them about EXP. And now it's just a different conversation. I mean, I'm excited and I know that I can help people. And so it just changes the tone of the conversations that I'm having with people. So that excites me.
Love that. So we know for those of you that weren't at that weekend, you've heard me say this before potentially, but there's one person to enroll and it's yourself. And if you're enrolled, then everything else will take care of itself over time. And if you're not enrolled, it doesn't matter who comes across your path. Like if you haven't enrolled yourself. And so that's what there is for each of us to do always is to enroll and re-enroll ourselves. Like if I'm coming from that place, then okay. So I'm going to next month, I'll be in Spain for an event through my new skin business, and I'm invited to speak usually every year, and it's always on a panel. So each of us they'll normally have a panel of 4, and each of us will have 7 minutes. And I woke up this morning to an invitation to be one of the closing speakers on the last day with a 17-minute segment, which is very unusual in a foreign market because usually they'll use people that are in that market versus ones that are traveling in for something like that. And so it just like, it was kind of like oh shoot, like what do I need to do to dial myself in to do that, to get up and to deliver for the benefit of the people that are there, because it's a privilege, but it's also a responsibility because I've got people's lives in my hands the moment that I walk on stage and open my mouth, right? So I was in this conversation this morning of like, what is it? Am I fully enrolled for me in my life? Where am I in alignment? Where am I out of alignment? Where do I make those tweaks to get myself like it was a huge awareness thing. Like I use that to look and go, always looking and going, okay, how do I step it up for me? How do I take me to the next level? How do I take my vision, my commitment, my experience, my everything to be able to bring it to the next level? Um and like enrolling ourselves, right? That's what there is to do every day. And it's a great check-in that maybe you start the day with. And if I'm not enrolled or if I'm not feeling enrolled, well, is there some mindset work for me to do? Opportunities for me to take care of myself in a better way as it relates to my nutrition. Oh, I haven't been getting good sleep. Like what is there for me to do to take care of this so that I stay enrolled? And when I'm enrolled 100% and I've enrolled myself, like look out, right? If you're in my wake, you're coming with me. Right. Okay, cool. Who else? What's something that you've been using or utilizing around the attraction and building with the
I
principles?
was gonna say what you just said, the enrollment. Um, I think I, oh, I don't know if it's the concept of when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. If it's that I had never understood EXP to the levels that I did once hearing it from you, or that because I'm in a different space now, I was able to hear it from that perspective better. But I feel much more enrolled in the company. And I've noticed based on what similar to what Paula just said, my conversations are different because of that. There's an agent, she's literally texting me right now, who is on one of my calls, who's just like, I'm coming with you to EXP. She told me that yesterday. We've been having this conversation for 6 months. So I believe that's part of the shift. And I'm noticing that happening. There was someone I did the home buyer event on Saturday, and one of the other agents who was there, she came and had a conversation with me. So I'm noticing my energy has shifted because of the things I learned from you, and then it's the trickle down effect. So
Yes, it's a combination, right? So you've been at
Mhm.
EXP since 2022, so
Yep,
that's 3 years, right?
yep,
We go back to the principles of the Builders Boot Camp and look all the way down at the last one, which is the upgrade process. As a result of you coming to the retreat, you gave yourself an upgrade because you put yourself in a place to have a different experience than you've had up until now. And then you
Mhm.
had that experience, right? So it's a combination of the students ready, right? The teacher appears, you take action on that, like we're in the conversation that we're in anyways. And now you're in that in community with the people that you're in community with, and then you upgrade yourself and you take that to the next level. And so in this idea of like the person that there is to enroll always is yourself, then it comes back to, okay, as a leader of myself, where are the places and the conversations for me to continue to put myself in so that I have the opportunity to continue to upgrade myself, right? So like looking at the calendar of events for the year and which ones those are going to be, like regional rally, EXPCon, any of the other events, build events, that are happening, Cabo, like all of those places, when done with intention, it's not like it's another event. It's no, it's okay, well, this is a piece of the upgrade process for me. And I'm upgrading myself. I'm going with the intention of upgrading myself. Oh, also, who can I bring with me, right? Who is standing on the riverbank, seeing me in the river splashing around, that is an invite now that can join me in that experience and then start to be in their process, right? So I think about this in the context of we're always in growth or we're in decay. And if we don't have an active growth plan, the plan that we're in is a decay plan, just because there's nothing that sits in the middle. And so in this idea or this context around, okay, we're building and growing organizations, agents that are coming and joining us, and people that are going to continue, like it's not that we get them to the table, it's what happens after they're at the table and in the river. Right? It's all of those things and continuing to move through, right? So I know, and I did this, well, and Kim, for the same reason. If you're on a trail ride with a bunch of horses, uh, and you've got somebody that's like, are we turning around and waiting for that person? Are we turning around and we're waiting? Are we turning around and waiting? No, like we keep going and they catch up. Like we'll keep going and they catch up. You don't stop the flow and the progress of everyone that's moving for the one that's moving slower, right? And so from that perspective, if you take that mindset into building, growing your organizations and go, okay, well, I'm the self-designated leader because I'm the leader of myself. What does that mean? That means that I've got to set a pace. Where does that pace get set? That pace gets set at the front, right? So like every single one of you is a leader of self. Debbie's a leader of self, Lonnie's a leader of self, Nancy's a leader of self. You're setting a pace based on the intentionality of where you're plugging into upgrade, the conversations that you're having with people, how you're showing up to be in that, river splashing around, we'll call it, in the river of change and growth, and the people that you've got in there with you. You're setting the pace as leader. It doesn't matter what I'm doing, honestly. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. What matters is what you're doing and what you've decided to do for you. That's all that matters to you. If I do something and it can benefit you, like a retreat, great, it's an extra. But as a leader of self, we go, okay, I am the leader. And if we go back to that, that visual of being on a trail and you're the lead person and you're the lead, like it's up to you, right? And so same thing in the business of building your organizations, like you're the leader of the pack for the organization that you're building. And so having a very clear plan, what that growth plan is for yourself, so that if you have that, you can invite people into it with you. If you don't have that, you're not able to invite them into it with you, right? So I think about you, Katrina, and what you shared. You've been here for 3 years. And if we go back to this idea that the past is perfect, like whatever's gone on for you the last 3 years has been exactly what has prepared you to be where you are today, able to hear what you're able to hear and receive what you're able to receive and galvanize and move that into action, which you very clearly do immediately in the moment based on my experience of you. Right? However, it's all of that pre-work that was happening, things that were going on in your personal life, things that were happening for you professionally over the last few years. So you're in the river called EXP and you've been here for 3 years and that's great. But what will happen for you now moving forward in that same river is going to be different because you're at a different place based on all those things that have, led you right now to exactly in this moment. And so sometimes it's challenging to, like you said, oh, I've been talking to this person for 6 months. Well, they're in their own process. Right? They're in their own process, then they're in their own set of stuff. And the thing that is the only thing that you can control and determine is when they look up and are at the space where, okay, where's the teacher? The student's ready. And you're like, hello, I've been here for 6 months, like right here. Is that you're still there, right? It's when you're not there that it becomes an issue. So if we go back to the one person that we enroll as ourselves, I am a leader of self, and what's my growth plan going to be based on that for myself? And when I have that and I'm clear on that and I have that movement and I am determining the pace that I want to go at based on where I'm at relative to my goals and objectives, I recognize that success is forward progress towards those worthy goals. And every day I'm getting up and I'm making progress to that. And some days it's going to look and feel better than others, and doesn't matter. I'm moving forward. So therefore I am successful. Like, so often we wait for the result to determine whether we give ourselves the feeling of success. Oh, I can feel successful because I got the result. Like, what if you actually could feel successful every day because you recognize, look at, I did this, 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 and this to move the ball forward, and therefore I'm successful every single day. And the days where you get up and do nothing, okay, well, you didn't create success that day, but that would be very hard and intentional to do nothing. And most of the people that are on this call are not geared to do nothing. So you're always going to be moving things forward. It's just a matter of taking ownership and recognizing that that forward progression is part of your success. And then you're going to, oh yeah, you're going to have that agent join. You're going to have that team of agents join. We have Selena and I have some people coming into our organizations that have been literally years in process. I would say close to 3 years in process, and like a very active process the last year and a half. Calls, meetings, more meetings, more questions, more periods of silence, weeks and months of silence and nothing. And we're doing this. And then, like, they're in their own process. Like, everybody's in their own process. So what do I know? I know that when they look up, yep, we're still here. We're still moving. Here's all the things that have happened since you, like, went somewhere and are now coming back up for air. Like, oh yeah, here's all the set of things we've kept moving forward, because every day we get up and we're moving the ball forward or moving the needle forward, and these are the things that's happening. And yep, jump in here, plug in here. And so if there's anything that I can emphasize, right, if we go back to the beginning of the conversation and what you brought up, Katrina, is that, okay, so we're going to look at having pillars of income in your revenue share organization and agent attraction organization. And where are those going to come from? Well, we're really still talking about the same thing. We're talking about everybody having a network and then having connections as a result of that network. So in the same way that it's mortgage brokers, it could be a mom's group. Or in the same way that it's a mom's group, it could be, a bunch of cowgirls. Or in the same way that it's a bunch of cowgirls, it could be a bunch of tech women that love tech. Or in the same way that it's a bunch of tech women that could love tech, it could be a bunch of women whose children are finally grown and they're about to be empty nesters, and they're like, I need something to do. I want something to do. Where's my people? Like, and I like working. And then, it could be like, oh, then in that same token, there could be like a whole nother sector of people that could be capitalized on that are like, oh, my kids are finally old enough to be in school. Thank goodness. Like, I need to work. I want to work. I want to do something. So there's all these different communities of people that are different networks of people that, depending on where you are, those will be your people, but the principles stay the same. If we go back to the builders boot camp of everybody's got the story. What is their story that's led them here today? And as they're looking to the future, what is their feeling about the future? More importantly, what do they want to feel when they look at the next 1 year, 3 year, 5 years? And we are the people that can offer them hope, opportunity, and a plan to execute that opportunity so that they feel excited and hopeful when they think about the future. And regardless of, yes, hope dealers, regardless of what sector of people those are going to come out of, if we just keep the foundation and the principles, like we're doing the same thing over and over and over, with a different spin depending on who you are. And that's how you make it your own, right? Like, what can you get behind? Lenders with leverage, like Katrina's behind it in the same way that she is, got behind the Maven thing immediately and now owns that space. And that would be the objective, right? Everybody finds a space that they want to run and be in. Me, for the first time, it's like, oh wow, I'm attracting women that are in their mid to late 40s, which is actually the age I am, and amazing. And all of a sudden there's this community of people that have, people that have lost spouses, people that have gone through, this, that, or the other thing, people that are at a spot they didn't think that they would be at in life. And then, oh, like, here we are all together. And this is really cool. Like, I've never had this in this way before because I had something else before now, right? And so now this is a whole segment group of people that I can relate with. And of course, that's what's being attracted and coming in. So there's the things that are always going to be happening naturally based on who you are, where you're at in your life, and the things that you resonate with and that you love. And then there's the ones that you can intentionally to be out and, going towards or after. So for me, that would be like, okay, where are top producing teams and brokerages? Because I want to move in a business to business context versus a onesie twosie context, right? And having a strategy for that as well. Okay, questions, comments, ahas. Let's hear from somebody we haven't heard from yet.
Well, I have something that I'd like to share. Thank you for continuing to pour into us. Two of the things that I do that keep me inspired, because a lot of times I've come back from an event or meeting with someone and I'll have my workbook of notes and then it goes like on the shelf. Well, I've kept it on my desk. I've referred back to this probably daily, to stay inspired, to stay encouraged, to stay on track. And then I've got my vision that you did on the Post-its. I've got it on my door as I walk in my office, and I refer back to it every now and then. And the part that stands out the most, which this is probably no surprise to you, security is an illusion. And then that feeds into, am I in growth or decay? Because that was something that I think you directed, I think specifically to me one-on-one when we were speaking. But I'm constantly reflecting back on the stuff so that my mindset stays in that flow that we had that was so amazing there. And then my conversations are different with agents. I had a lunch with an agent. I was helping him with some marketing stuff. I sprinkled in some EXP conversations, but I know his office manager where he's at. And I told her I would not go after any of her agents, like purposely. And he's getting ready to move out of state. And I said, hey, if you ever want to hear about the EXP model, and we have a good rapport, if you ever want to hear about the EXP model, because it can be beneficial to you being licensed in 2 different states, I said, I'd love to have a conversation. Well, we met on Saturday for lunch to go over other marketing things that he's mentioned in our accountability calls. And I didn't even mention EXP. We were totally about marketing. And we were sitting there and we were getting ready to leave. We'd already eaten lunch and whatever. And he goes, one more thing, kid, because he's like in his 70s. One more thing, kid. And I said, okay. And he goes, I've done my due diligence, and now it's time that I talk to you about EXP. I go, oh, okay. And he was going to be a coach at Keller Williams, and he was going to join the team that was out in Dallas that his current broker has out there, but he didn't like the team and like all these things. So he did all of his due diligence with everybody else, and it's like, shit, now I got to come back to you and talk to you about EXP. But he is coming to the EXP Explain call tomorrow morning, and I was able to give him little nuggets to get him interested enough to get on the Zoom. And so he will be there tomorrow. And I'm excited because I think he's going to be a great builder as far as building an organization, because he's got a very, very witty, charming personality, and he's a lot of fun. And so I think he's going to attract a lot of people when he moves to Dallas. And then the mentorship and all that fulfills that coaching side of him that he really wants to get involved with. So, and he is a good producer too. So that was kind of cool because our conversation went totally different, and being reminded of how to say things and how to present information and all of that was like so top of mind, which enforces me to continue looking at all this information on a daily basis. I thought that was pretty cool.
That's really cool. And I want to acknowledge you because if you think about everything that you just said, and then what you did so well was you managed the energy, right? So you did an invite that was a door opening invite that was a create curiosity, right? So when we go back to the principles of inviting, it is to create curiosity, not to satisfy it, right? So you created it by, the whole approach of it could be a good time to have a conversation about him being licensed in both states and what that could mean for him. And then you left it alone, right? So that's if we look at like you did the invite and then you left it alone, and then you guys met and you were investing and pouring into him something unrelated, and now this is how we know we've got a prospect, because we pull back and they come in, right? And that dance of that's the attraction piece, right? Is that you know how to hold yourself and do this and back up and then be you and hold that space to go, okay. And now like the prospect is driving that interaction and they're controlling it, except for not really, because you're the one that's influenced it, right? So really, really great job, Debbie. Super good job. Yeah. All right, we've got time for one, maybe two more.
I'll go.
Yay! I was going to ask you to just make something up and come off mute, because I know how much goes through your mind now from spending 2 days with you, of when you actually do talk and all the incredible things that come out of it. So yay, go.
I mean, I guess we've been home, 1 week, and normally, like, I've had 7 different deals fall in my lap, just not even trying. And usually I'm really, really excited about that, but I'm not anymore. Like, that's not what I want anymore. So I have now, my daughter's going to get licensed in Utah. I have a son he just moved home last week, but he's going to go back out to Idaho. And I'm going to start actually with agent recruiting and have them selling, so they have some money to keep them afloat too. But it was funny. I started 75 hard. I've done 75 hard, and my sister's like, you got to do it again with me. But my app, it's like a supplement. So I had to add free tasks. So I added tasks, but they were all tasks related to like building my real estate business and not building my EXP business. And so just this morning when we were talking, like, oh, I got to change that. But I was going to tell you something and I can't even remember what I was going to say. I got a lot of distractions going on right now.
Well, I love what you did share. So here's how I want to anchor it: is 7 deals means who knows how many other agents on the other side of those deals, right? Depending on if they're buy deals or sell deals, right? So now, like, think about that. Like, oh, okay, I've got these 7 deals, but who are all the agents that those deals are going to bring to me? And now, okay, I've had all these agents coming to me because of these deals that wouldn't otherwise be. Who am I going to look for, sift and sort? How am I going to engage with them? And if you get to the bottom of if you get to the referral part on the boot camp that talks about how to open those doors for somebody you've been in contract with, or somebody that just put an offer in on one of the deals that you've got going, you now have, like, this is amazing. This is the height of attraction, because you now have all these people that are being brought to you.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yes for you, no for you, maybe for you, but I would really like to talk to you. Like, and here they all are coming in. So when you move your mind to that, okay, great, we've got all the production happening in the business because that's bringing the agents to me. And then how am I going to be very focused and intentional on the agents that are coming to me? Like, oh, I'm going to listen to them differently, possibly when we're in conversation, or I'm going to observe how they communicate, or are they the type of people that I want to open this door in this conversation with? And now I immediately have this in with all of these agents that I didn't have before these 7 deals to say, hey, you know what? Nancy, I just want to acknowledge that I love the experience I had of you, which was XYZ. And I
I
do a
love
deal,
that.
do a deal again with you any day of the week, all day long. And if you're open to it, would love to talk about ways that we might be able to possibly partner and do business at a different level together. Is that something you're open to?
I love that.
Yeah.
And another big thing too, I get imposter syndrome really bad. And I was talking to my friend and she's like, yeah, I'm gonna recruit 171 agents maybe this week. I'm like, what? I was so excited. But what it made me realize, like, I can do that too. Like, that's how possible it is.
Yeah, totally. It totally is. You're like the secret weapon because you don't know you're a weapon. You're like, you're one of those people that is just like so unassuming and has, you know, like can move mountains and all the things, and nobody actually knows that that's who they're standing next to. And so like that gives you in so many ways the upper hand of like people have no idea, but you know, and you know what you have available to you, and you know, you're getting more practice in owning that and
Mhm. Yep.
and using it, right, and having fun with it. Like it's so much fun, right? So much fun, and it's really fun for Kim. I mean, look at her. She's like coming out of her skin.
It's because, and I've said this to probably everyone on the call that's with me, that I can't wait until they see themselves the way I see them and the way everybody else sees them. And so Lanny's finally like doing her thing that I knew she was gonna. I was just waiting for when she was ready. And I love that. Oh yeah, I just put 7, I got 7. What? That's incredible. I'm so proud of you guys.
My brain is just so full. Like, I'm just tired.
Yeah. So this is like a capacity conversation, and we'll end it on this. So I remember at one point being like complete, and this was like a neurotic time in my life. It was a new skin time in my life, actually. And I was working because of what was happening and everything that was going on. I was working anywhere from 10 to 14 hours. And when I say working, I mean Rick just shoved food on the desk and I was on call after call, Zoom after Zoom, conversation after conversation. And it was a spurt of a couple of months. And I got into like 1 month in, and I was having a conversation with my coach, Charlie, and I'm like, Charlie, I'm going to break. I can't sustain this and I can't do that. And he goes, no, he goes, this is the greatest thing. And I'm like, why? And he goes, because this is where you're getting better, because you're going to know who deserves your time. You're going to allocate your time differently. You're not going to give it all in the same way to all of the people. And it's going to help you like set parameters around who you agree to give your time to, what it looks like for them to get it, and then where you invest. And he's like, if you didn't have your, if you weren't maxed out, you wouldn't be forced to grow in this way, because previously it was like you were working with whoever showed up and could fog a mirror, and a lot of times those people were draining your energy, and they weren't people that you were inspired to be working with or energized to be engaged with. So when, just remember that, like when capacity gets stretched, the opportunity and capacity getting stretched is that now you get better, and the caliber and quality of people that come in will up level with you in that process every time your capacity gets stretched. So on that, I know I have another Zoom at the top of the hour, which is in like right now. So I want to say thank you all for being on the call today. I'm super excited to hear things as they progress on the lenders with leverage. Hopefully just the conversation around how we take the principles of how we grow and build and continue to duplicate that, you've been able to apply to your own sectors of how you all want to work, and love hearing the wins and the integration. So love each of you. We're having an incredible Free Friday coaching call this Friday, 9 a.m. It's going to be Fadi from Southern California. He is, I mean, unbelievable. Get on the call. Your mind will be blown. It's insane the amount of business he's doing and how he's growing. So look forward to seeing you there. Everyone make it a great day.